to this month's edition of the Laurel FireWatch. I'm your co-host, Richard Blankenship.
And I'm your co-host, Art Staub.
This is our first show for the season for 2012. We hope you all had a safe and happy holidays. Today we're going to discuss a little bit about carbon monoxide poisoning, smoke alarms, and then we're going to talk to you about the new elected officers that were elected this January for the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. And we're also going to introduce the new trustee of the Laurel Fire Department, my co-host, Art Staub. As a code enforcement inspector for the city of Laurel, one of my responsibilities is rental license inspections. And during these inspections, I've noticed quite a few times that we're having inoperable smoke alarms, mostly because they're taken down or the batteries have been taken out. You need to make sure that these things stay operational. It's like having a firefighter in your house for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But if they're not hooked up, or they're not maintained, they will not function. I also want to talk about carbon monoxide detectors. This is the time of year when we start using the fireplace, the furnaces. If you have any kind of gas appliances in your home or you have a fireplace, you should have a carbon monoxide detector. Carbon monoxide is odorless and tasteless. And what will happen to you, it affects your bloodstream so that it will end up putting you to sleep. And you'll never wake up. We just had an incident just recently in Virginia where the family thought they had the flu. They went to the hospital, and the family actually had carbon monoxide poisoning. So please, if you do have any kind of gas appliances or you have a fireplace and you use it, please make sure you do have a carbon monoxide detector. If you're not familiar where to put your carbon monoxide detector or your smoke alarms, contact your local fire department, and they'll be happy to explain it to you and tell you exactly where to put it.
Every January, the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department elects a new leadership team to command and control and administer to the fire department needs for the year, and this year will be 2012. This year, the members elected the following people. The fire chief will be Travis Piercy. The deputy fire chief will be Trey Kelso. The assistant fire chief will be DJ Hall. The assistant fire chief will be Brian Cavanaugh. The senior captain will be Greg Matee. Also, Captain Wesley Burns and Captain Kevin Brown. The following lieutenants were elected by the members: David Ballard, Fred Miller, and Chris Yeager. We appoint 2 sergeants every year. They would be appointed by the fire chief. We also appoint a new EMS sergeant this year, who will also be appointed by the fire chief, and we will make those announcements when they become available. The administrative team for the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department will be Jim Collins as the president. He has replaced Victor Whipple. Vic Whipple is still deployed for his employer over in Iraq. We wish him good luck and hope he comes back soon. Vice president will be Pop Grant. Vice president also will be Dan Greenstein. The other administrative members will be Steve Parator, Rosa Marr, Ken Wilson, and one of the governing bodies we have are the Board of Trustee members, and they will be myself, Joe Robson, used to be former mayor here at City of Laurel, Pat Dillon, Jim Codisboat, Tom Skaggs, Dove Robinson, who is sort of a new trend. We finally elected a woman to the administrative board, and Brian Wilson Lau. These will be the fire department operations and the administrative team leadership for the year, and I look forward to working on this team. It should be a real educational experience for me.
As you can see, that Art just read you all those names of the elected officials for the fire department. It does take a lot of time, and all these positions are filled by volunteers. One of the things that Prince George's County does, they have what they call a fire commission in this county that manages the money for the various stations in the county and make sure that we have plenty of equipment and that we have fuel and things of that nature. Fire Chief Mark Bayshore is trying to do away with the Fire Commission and make it an advisory board. The County Fire Commission right now controls 9% of the county fire department's budget. We're one of the only entities in the county that stays within their budget. And then again, it is managed by all volunteers. If you can go to our webpage, www.laurelvfd.org, you can get some information on about this program they're wanting to change and do away with the Fire Commission. Art has some more information he'd like to give you, a little bit more about detail in this change.
Basically, the county fire department, as it is organized right now, was chartered back in 1970. Mm-hmm. That's when it went away from being a basically all volunteer fire service to where the county got into the business of providing career staffing and management to coincide and work with the volunteer organizations. It has worked very well since 1970, up until probably recently this past year, when it seems it's becoming much more difficult as far as it's gone from an organized management team to where it's almost becoming sort of a dictatorship,
mm-hmm.
would you say?
Absolutely.
And we feel the volunteers handle their budget very well. And we always manage to turn funds back in every year because we do not waste money. We finance everything on a very frugal nature. It seems like the career side is always in debt at the end of the year. We have issues with the way they manage the money, and that if a fire apparatus breaks down in May, it may not get fixed till July because they don't have the budget money for it. This is why we seek to maintain the Volunteer Fire Commission to maintain their part of the budget. This way, when the volunteer organization has a problem with maintenance, they can go to the commission, get the money, get their apparatus fixed. The fire department, most of the apparatus in this county is owned by volunteers.
Yeah.
Maintained and budgeted, licensed, and insured. And we want to keep it that way. The county has specs and standards for apparatus, but I would say the volunteer organizations usually require a little higher spec and a little higher standard. They all meet the NFPA standard for our fire apparatus, but the volunteers usually spec theirs a little more so that it's a little more convenient to ride on, a little not safer, but convenient, more comfortable to ride on for when you spend hours out on the scene. The Laurel Fire Department, along with the other volunteer organizations in the county, are seeking a petition drive, and all this petition is asking for is the right to put a charter on the election ballot in November, and that will allow the volunteers to be recognized in this county and considered as part of the administrative team. That is what the county is attempting to do so now, is to reduce their status, reduce their power over just 9% of the budget. We feel we maintain the budget very well, and we want to keep it that way.
Like I said earlier, Art was elected to one of the trustees positions at the fire department. Being a past chief of that organization, I know how time-consuming it is to be able to do that. So I'm just going to ask Art a few questions. He can let you know what he feels about the position. Art, I know you decided to run for the board this year. What made you decide to want to run for it?
Well, the big reason I'm now in my 50s, and I can't really respond on calls anymore because when you get to the age I'm in, you're probably more of a liability for the fire chief than you are a productive member. And I feel it's my duty to not place the chief in a position where he has to tell me I can't ride anymore. So I just chose to stop riding on my own and become an administrative member. I understand that it takes more than just the chief to run the fire department. It takes an elected board of administrative people to pay the bills, maintain an esprit de corps, maintain a responsible group of members who will assist and work for the chief. I mean, the chief directs the fire department operation. We understand that. And I think Travis does that very well for all the challenges he has to face day in and day out, 7 days a week. He doesn't get a day off. You know, realistically, he doesn't get a day off. Neither do the other chiefs. But I just enjoy the opportunity to come in and see this. You know, I don't really know what a fire department tire will cost for a pumper, to be honest with you. I've never had to inspect that kind of funding before. This is the way I'm going to learn that. I mean, I know they're expensive, and I know truck tires for a large truck are expensive, but this way I get to see how the dollars and cents come up with the nuts and bolts of how the fire department's going to run.
I mean, like Art just brought up a good point. There's two branches in the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. There's an operational branch, which is maintained by the fire chief, who handles the emergency operations when they come down. But the fire chief also has a responsibility to make sure that the apparatus is kept in good working condition, that the people show up for what we have a duty crew program, and that we have members hanging around the station. Being in that position, I can speak for that position because I've been there numerous times. It's almost like having a full-time job because you're constantly there. You're always there for meetings. That fire department runs an average of probably over 5,000 calls a year, both fire and EMS. So it's a pretty active fire department. The administrative side, we have the president, who is James Collins, and we had the board of trustees. Again, when I was the chief and I needed something, I always met with the board at least once a week, and I would tell them, hey, this is what I need to purchase this month. They either approved it or they didn't. There was times that sometimes money could have been a little tight on our side as well because you like to maintain that budget and stay within a certain amount of dollars. We might have not been able to get something this month, but then we could get it next month. We kind of wanted to spread it out. We didn't want to spend a lot of money at one time, and that's why you had the board with multiple people on that so they can get together and decide how to make sure that this is maintained.
Well, and we're a business. You can't spend what you don't have.
That's correct. And I'm glad to see that Art did step up to the plate this year and do that. It's nice to rotate people through positions. Same with the chief and line officers and the administrative officers as well. We just got elected a new treasurer this year. I've been in that department for 43 years, and this is only the fourth treasurer that we've had in that fire department. So that's one of those positions that you get and you hang in there for a while. But again, like Art, I'm glad that you did step up. And I also like to congratulate Art on his recent retirement from the Loudoun County Fire and Rescue Department. He worked in the fire marshal's office as a fire investigator. And I know you're going to miss that.
Oh, I do.
And I'm sure they're going to miss you as well. But again, I want to congratulate you on your time that you were there.
Going to miss the smell. Everybody we go to fires because we like to go to fires. And you get used to seeing the flames, you get used to the smell, and you just look forward to getting in there and smelling it, even though we probably shouldn't be smelling it. But, you miss the smell of a good working fire.
And one of the things, again, this year we're going to try to do is start bringing some of the officers in just to introduce them to you so you know who they are. If you happen to see them on the street and want to speak to them, you can do that. The City of Laurel, the Mayor's Open House is March the 4th here at City Hall from 1 to 4. We are going to have multiple organizations here. You can get a chance to meet the mayor if you have any questions you'd like to talk to him about. The Deputy City Administrator will be here, Marty Fleming, who's in charge of emergency operations. The City Administrator, Christine Mills, will be here. I'm sure the council people will be here. And again, other organizations such as the Fire Department, the Rescue Squad, the Lions Clubs, all those things are going to be here. So if you'd like to have an opportunity, maybe you want to do some volunteering in your community, I know the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department will sure be glad to have you. You did want to ride a fire truck, again, like Art said earlier, we have an administrative side of the branch that we would be happy to have people in that position as well.
I will bring up a function we have in fire and rescue is the fire prevention team. President Collins appointed Dan Sheffield as the chairperson for the fire prevention committee this year. If you would like to visit the fire station, if you would like the fire department to come out and visit your community fund raising activity, your community organized activity, your Boy Scouts, your Girl Scouts, your seniors group, when they meet, contact the fire station at 301-776-3600 and leave a message for Dan Sheffield. He will contact the rest of the members of the fire prevention team, and we'll try to get a visit organized and scheduled and come out to see you. And hopefully, on our next visit, we'll probably try to have our friend Hector out again. He's been in with the cold weather, but we'll try to get him out and see if how available we can keep him for you.
If there's something that you would like for us to discuss on the show pertaining to fire service, it could be smoke alarms or whatever the case may be, it could be cooking or EMS, please send us an email to firewatch@laurelcabletv.com. Also, we will be at the Main Street Festival the second week in May, and we'll have a booth there. Again, if you need some information, please stop by and ask some questions. Okay, this wraps up our edition for the Laurel FireWatch for this month. We thank you for viewing our show, and we hope you continue to do so. Again, if you have any fire safety questions, something you're not sure about, where to place a smoke alarm, or even if you need a smoke alarm, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 301-776-3600, and we'll be glad to help you out.